Pregame.com.
Welcome back to Pregame.tv. We're going to wrap up our Super Bowl coverage. It's been a full week of Super Bowl coverage here for us at Pregame.tv, and I'm joined with Tony George. Your host, Marco D.Angelo, and this is where I'm going to give my prop bets for the Super Bowl. I've got 3 of them that I've isolated I want to share with everybody. The first one, Tony, I am taking a look at the team total for the San Francisco 49ers, and I see this team total at 25.5. I like the over in this one, and I'll tell you why. You look at since Colin Kaepernick took over for the 49ers, he's had 9 starts. 7 of the 9 starts, the 49ers have scored 27 or more points. That puts us over this total for the team. Also, I'm looking at situation, the 2 games that they didn't, there were reasons. The one, they played the Seattle Seahawks, and that was the week immediately following their big game that they had the Sunday night before. National TV Sunday night game in New England, beat Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and although the score at the end was close, they were winning that game 31-3 at the time. So it was a monster game for the 49ers, and I think Seattle caught them at the right time. If you remember, that game was played in a rainstorm. It got to be a blowout early, and I think San Francisco just shut it down and wanted to get out of there.
Seattle shut everybody down up there, by the way. That's not uncommon up there. They played ungodly defense at home this year.
Absolutely. And the other game that they didn't score 27 points was against the St. Louis Rams. And for whatever reason this year, Jeff Fisher got that St. Louis team. He had San Francisco's number. He knew how to stop this team because they lost to them once and tied to them once, and that no other team in the NFL can say that, that they had the success that he had against them. So I like this team total to go over Baltimore. I know the defense has been playing a lot better in the playoffs since they got all of the big 3 on the field at the same time, but they're going against a different type of offense. It's not a normal, traditional, stationary quarterback back there. You know, last week or in the championship game against New England, Tom Brady could have tucked the ball and ran numerous times to extend drives.
Absolutely.
And that's not his style. It will be Colin Kaepernick's style to keep drives alive. Any final thoughts on my first one?
Well, you know, the Ravens gave up 21 points per game in the regular season, and they didn't play a team like San Francisco. I think San Francisco could sneak over that number. Really do.
All right, we're going to go to my second one, and we're going to look at a player prop. Is this guy going to score or not? And I think Frank Gore is going to have a huge game on Sunday. I think he is the X factor because they are going to be so concerned about stopping Colin Kaepernick and not letting him get to the outside on that read option that what's going to end up happening is they're going to over pursue, bite on the fake, thinking Kaepernick's going to, take the read option to the outside or pull up and pass out of it, and instead Gore's going to be through the line before they realize he's got the ball instead of Kaepernick still having it. And if he breaks that initial line of containment, then we got to get Ray Lewis in his antler ears, got to make that open field tackle on Frank Gore, or he's off to the races. And if they get inside the 10, it is so hard to defend that read option inside the 10-yard line. I think he gets a quick hitter. And I'm going back to the Washington game. Moore's had a huge game against Baltimore in that game for that same reason.
Right.
They were over pursuing RG3, and they were getting beat up the middle.
Yeah, well, you saw what happened to the Falcons, and they tried to the same thing, tried to load up him on the outside to stop him on the counter, and they just busted it right back in the A gap, almost loading up the left side, then just coming back against the grain. It was open for James, and it was open for Gore. I mean, really open. You could have drove a Mack truck through there. And defenses, when you're running against an option offense like that, you see it in college all the time. Once you commit, if you're not watching your backside, look out. I think it's a great angle there. And
the final one I got, and this is going to kind of tie in with the earlier video that we did with one of your plays, but I'm looking at Ray Rice under 16.5 carries. And I look at this San Francisco 49er team, and in their last 8 games, 6 of the last 8 games, they held their opponents to rushing 24 or fewer attempts per game. It's hard to rush against this 49er team. With that said, so the average was like 20-some, but 24 or less, 6 of 8. I look at this game, And I say, okay, if they're only going to get 20, 22, 23 carries in the game, how's he going to get to 16.5? Because there's another guy in that backfield for the Ravens, Bernard Pierce. They've been using him more and more. And John Harbaugh has been a guy that if he gets Pierce a couple rushes and he shows life and gets some big gainers, he's not afraid to keep feeding him the ball. He likes to go with the hot hand. In every carry that he takes, that's taken one away from Ray Rice. I don't see how Ray Rice gets to 16.5. That's on a normal game. If San Francisco gets out to a lead, then it takes the running game away completely from Baltimore, that they got to go to the air with Flacco. I think this is a great play on the under 16.5.
Well, the only thing that upsets me about this prop bet is I flew all the way out here to argue with you, and I can't, because that goes hand in hand with my prop bet, which was over 6.5 rushes with Pierce. And you're exactly right. Harbaugh goes with a hot hand here, and so it's ironic. We're going under rushes with the starter, and I'm going over rushes with the second running back. But I tell you what, I think if he gets hot and he's looked darn good in the playoffs, I think that's a great prop as well.
Well, if we are both right, that is what you would call a correlated parlay.
That's
with yours
exactly
and
right.
mine.
That's
So,
right. I'm headed back to the Hilton. I'm going to see if they'll let me parlay that bad boy up.
there you go.
Okay.
All right. He's Tony George. I'm Marco D.Angelo. This has been fun talking to props. Guys, thanks for joining us all week long. We've done First Preview radio show. We've done numerous videos here this week with the other group, VR, Fezzik, and Brian Leonard. And we did videos with Scott Spreitzer earlier today. And Tony, anytime you're in town, please stop by. We'll do some videos. Appreciate having you on the air. And guys, enjoy the Super Bowl on Sunday. We'll be back next week. We'll be back to the normal format. It's all basketball now, guys. Football was done after Sunday. We'll have NBA and college basketball all week long next week here at pregame.tv. Good luck with the Super Bowl on Sunday.